Mine is if it's laying vacant for 18 months and you're looking at development and reuse and that, within those small times, could it not be used for, I don't know, local charities to come in and have a sort of office or something like that? I think there should be a time span that says, well, you know, if you're looking at lots of empty places, they're vacant for years, and everyone's looking for an office just to do a little bit of community work. So maybe in your policy that says, while it's vacant, we're going to offer it to XYZ at peppercorn rent or something.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So
right.
just to make the point on the marketing side, it can be quite difficult to ascertain whether somebody's marketing a community facility, and I'd echo the point made by the council. It is more difficult than commercial, just because if you're, for example, marketing a nursery, there's a big difference between the normal market rent for a high-quality, high-end nursery that, you know, targets specifically well-off families, and the market rent that a nursery would pay that is targeting more deprived families. So the market isn't necessarily as easy to ascertain what that market is than, say, commercial offices in the West End, or indeed residential. So it can be quite difficult because there's a huge range of community service providers in both private and public sectors.
And have you got any suggestion? I mean, I think this goes to point 8 as well, as to where we should be pitching the market. So if, for example, you had nursery floor space as you put forward, should we take the market as being that more affordable childcare provision or the private childcare provision?
I mean, I think what they should be doing is having to demonstrate that they have marketed it without prejudice to the entire range of nursery providers. So they're not, maybe even to the extent that they're not requesting a rent up front, but they're saying it's available and we will accept offers. And then judging those offers based upon comparables throughout Westminster and just seeing whether, you know, if they're turning down offers from providers, whether actually they're turning down offers which are too low and they're just not realistic, or they're turning down offers that elsewhere in Westminster have been let as those facilities.
Okay, thank you.
Over the handling of schools and nurseries that are on the market is very difficult because if the parents get to know the facilities, then they tend not to have long-term plans to send their child or to the nursery or the school. So it's really done by word of mouth around those who might be providers. But there's no reason why evidence of their having done it in this discreet manner could not be brought forward and included, so that the time of vacancy is not so long. Because all properties deteriorate when they're empty if they're not actually abused.
Thank you.
Hi. Just because it's quite a specific area, with nurseries, it kind of goes back to what you were saying before about the demarcation between public and private. Because if we think of childcare as a market itself, then in Westminster you have very high-end private nurseries and the lower end of nursery facilities that are serving the direct community. Not that one's higher quality than the other, just that there's two distinct populations effectively that it can serve. Now, from our point of view, and from what was mentioned earlier with leisure centres and Fitness First and so on, they have the capacity to actually make to have a commercial return, and they charge very high fees in some instances of parents, up to say £400 a week. From our point of view of trying to serve the communities that come in through residential developments where there are social and affordable housing, and also the fact that there are pockets of deprivation in every single ward in Westminster, barring maybe a couple, then actually we would be saying, well, that's the argument point there is, again, returning to controls of rents and so on, is actually who would this actually be able to serve? And that would be about consultation with parents, or, you know, again, bringing in children's services to have that conversation about the community needs of that area. And particularly if you're bringing a large amount of families, or you've got 3 or 4 bedroom flats in a large development like Dudley House, for example, then we would say, well, if you're going to bring... We don't have childcare already to serve those people. We've got pressure and a deficit on all of our affordable childcare. Let's actually make this available to the more disadvantaged groups.
Okay, thank you.